Hey folks, welcome to Planning Traffic. Today's episode coming from, yes, you got it right, Centennial Park. At least that's where we're going to start today's episode. And this one is more on this episode is more just going to revisit a moment in time. Of course, already my head's going a little somber. Now, I've been in Centennial Park multiple times. It's actually really nice. Maybe I've got to think of what links I'll put in the description, because I do have a previous video here. They have my favorite part of the park is this water feature that's actually running right in this direction. Runs all the way down whatever street this is. And I still don't know. Looking. I'll get back to you on that. So, one time when I was in Centennial Park, I was like, well, you know, as a YouTuber, you're like, let me talk about the things, you know, you have the 96 Olympics, right? You have the negative parts, the positive parts. I try to keep most of my stuff on the positive because I don't like being depressed. But I will do certain things on my channel that will bring a melancholy feeling. Today's episode is going to be that one. So the one time I was here, was enjoying the water feature, was enjoying the different parts of the park, hit Wikipedia, reading. Oh, okay, oh, this happened, that happened. Okay. The very bottom of it said, you know, there's also, we have to make reference of the 2008 tornado that hit Centennial Park. And the first thing that came to my mind was, wait a second, metropolitan city getting hit with a tornado. We already know from this year alone, because St. Louis unfortunately got hit hard with one. We already know that it's possible. And me personally, when I'm standing in a place or riding in a place, sitting in a place, walking in an area that I know a phenomenon of that sort had happened, it really just freaks me out. So I said, you know what, I'm going to come back and do an episode of Playing in Traffic, revisiting the tornado. It's a tornado outbreak, but the specific tornado out of the 46 of them that hit the weekend of March 14th and 15th of 2008. So as you look around in the Centennial Park itself, there's these columns here with, I mean, it looks like a torch. It looks like Olympic-themed columns. There's one right there. There's one right behind this tree. Okay, so we got to see, here's one right here. There's the base of one right here, right up the tree. So one of the first things that come to mind was there was significant damage in Centennial Park, along with many other Atlanta landmarks that we're going to check in on a few of them today, from the actual tornado that hit that night. And I'm still looking for actual, like, photographic evidence. And I believe they were saying that the columns, or there were columns that were knocked over by this tornado. Now, this tornado was an EF2, so that's max winds of 130 miles an hour. And but yeah, this was one of its. This is part of the path of it, right through here. I'm going to show you a few others. And I'm going to, of course, insert many photos of the actual damage that happened. And it's kind of mind-blowing. And some of the stories within the night that tornado hit are kind of remarkable. So we're going to do that today. And wanted to start the episode in Centennial Park. And okay, on to the next. I know, by the way, this is where the water feature starts here. If you're ever in Atlanta and you're, you know, whether, you know, traveling, vacationing type thing, this is, to me, this is must see right here. It really is. This whole area, this whole park is great, but this whole right side of this area, I'm going to get the street name yet, is tremendous. Going right down the right side here with this, it's just like a water feature that kind of rolls right down the hill. Really cool to see. I think that my understanding of meteorology, I'm not a meteorologist of any sort, but my understanding is that with certain radar capability, when they are tracking tornadoes, is for a debris signature on the radar. I don't know what color it comes up. I'm going to say it comes up gray or white, so they know that there's a circle of debris within a supercell, which is indicative of a tornado, and that's the stuff that's floating around in that debris signature. Obviously, it's very dangerous along with the high winds, but that stuff is dangerous, and the reason why I bring that up right now is to show you this building right here. So here we are, Andrew Young International Boulevard. I don't know if this is what it was called back then, but as we go up and up and up and up, it's the Omni Hotel, folks. And the Omni Hotel is right next, and I'm going to assume they named it because the Omni used to be right up the street. That was the arena, that was their hockey, basketball, pro wrestling, concert arena. The Omni Hotel right here, and they got a little bridge that connects. I guess this was the original, and this looks obviously newer than that to this building on the left. But they have a little walkway in between. This hotel, and actually you could see a little further up the road is Congress Center, World Congress Center, right here. You can see that. But the Omni Hotel lost 476 windows during that tornado that hit. And matter of fact, this pathway that you're looking at right here, yeah, this pathway right here, going right up this road right here, through World Congress Center, right beyond that is the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That was not there then, it was the Georgia Dome. You're probably looking at the path of that EF2 tornado. 476 windows, folks, in that debris signature of that tornado. Tornadoes, depending on the, first off, an EF2, sorry, I thought you were talking to me. An EF2 generates enough strength and power to probably throw God knows what in a debris signature, right? So usually, I mean, that's homes, that's vehicles. I don't know if they're spinning, they could possibly be spinning around in it. I don't even want to know. But I know there's so much power, right? 476 windows from this hotel itself, from that EF2, spinning around. It sounds frightening for anyone, just say anyone walking, let alone driving. This was mid-March, March 14th, 2008. So this was just one of many hotels that got hit. And probably one of the most dangerous aspects, ouch, of the actual tornado was the glass that was flying around. When I put this episode together, and some of the stories that were within it, just the knowledge and being able to experience, not personally experience, thank God I haven't, tornadoes, the thought of that floating around in those winds through this whole area is absolutely frightening. And it becomes even more frightening when I add a further detail later in our episode that is absolutely mind-boggling to think about. I want to show you this following building as well. So yeah, we've already established World Congress Hall is down this street right here. This is St. Andrew Young International Boulevard. We got the Omni Hotels. We got Centennial Park. And as you continue in a southeasterly direction, you can see in the distance, this is the Westin Peachtree Hotel right here. And folks, you can only imagine, because this tornado went that direction. It literally, I'm just going to assume us standing where we're standing right now would be lifted up off the ground and deposited God knows where in Atlanta. Another building, glass. Oh, look, it head to toe glass. I got an episode coming up of the tallest buildings in Atlanta. I wonder where this one ranks. But right here is the Westin Peachtree Hotel, and the picture of the hotel post tornado, immediately following the tornado, was probably one of the more infamous photos of the tornado's destruction, because again, the damage to the hotel, again, windows, mostly windows, right? And I shouldn't say mostly windows. I just know windows was really the most dangerous part of the damage that tornado did. And you can only imagine, considering like metropolitan cities, they're rare. They're rare to have. So if you have a tornado whipping around the size of, an EF2, an EF1 I'm sure would have been terrible to begin with. Most of the areas them things spin around are not looking at 700-foot high-rise window-filled buildings that they're usually doing damage to. But again, this was another one right here, the Westin Peachtree, and you could see right along this path. So when I was doing the research into the damage and the different buildings that were, I guess more notable buildings, there was so much damage. This tornado traveled for 6.2 miles at 2 different locations. I'm going to put the actual map of the path of it, but it traveled for 6.2 miles, and at 2 different times during its path, it did raise up to an EF2. When it was coming through here, it was an EF2. The actual tornado itself was 200 yards wide. So I would say this road right here that runs right along up above here is Phillips Arena entrance. Of course, there's multiple entrances well, it's currently State Farm Arena. Back then it was Phillips Arena. But right up there is the entrance, and it literally went, it seems like it went completely over top of the arena. And right through here, the CNN building, the Omni Hotel, Centennial Park, and off into that distance, all the way down to Oakland Cemetery, which is off this direction. Oh, just devastating just to think about it. We're just riding through right here. Here's State Farm Arena. That was Phillips Arena back then, but probably looks very similar to that to a degree. I mean, it's still the same arena. Sure, maybe renovations here and there. Over here is the Georgia World Congress Center. And as we continue on this, we're currently on a sidewalk, but there is a road right over here to my left. And as we continue up and in this direction, we can see this. Now you're looking at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Folks, that was not there. That was not there on the night of March 14th, 2008. What was there was the Georgia Dome. And I think it was kind of, like, just going off of, I did not live here, I lived in Philadelphia, but just going off of my research, that it's kind of in that footprint where that Mercedes-Benz Stadium is. So the Georgia Dome was there. Well, on the night of March 14th, just imagine this, 2008, at 9:32 is when The tornado, I'm going to assume it was coming from that direction, because again, remember folks, I was saying 6.2 miles this tornado traveled in a southeasterly direction, which is actually rare for a tornado. That's usually going in a northerly direction. And also, this tornado came out from a supercell, not along a squall line, like say like a cold front entering an area of hot temperatures or vice versa. This was just a single supercell, and yeah, just traveling down into that direction, and now down in that direction, Centennial Park. You could see the Westin Peachtree Hotel in the distance. This building right here, Congress Center, took an incredible amount of damage, of roof damage. Again, I will have pictures included in that. You see the Omni Hotel. Here's the craziness of this story, if it wasn't crazy enough. I think the Atlanta Hawks were in this building that night, March 14th, 2008. Pied. I do know for a fact that the Georgia Dome was occupied that night with the SEC tournament. And if you start putting all the different, all you need to know, tornado, and this building was filled. Well, it was, I don't know what the capacity of it, but there was a lot of people in it. There's video footage of it on YouTube. I'll put that in the link in the description as well. So this building had, at the time when that was happening, was a game between, so Mississippi State and Alabama. This game was broadcast live, SEC tournament. So it was March Madness. And again, I'll have pictures up of the Georgia Dome. Not this building, Mercedes-Benz. It was not there then. So the Georgia Dome was here. So a player named Michael Riley hit a shot to tie that game and send it to overtime. And with all the stuff that I already told you about the debris signature and what was floating around, and just the amount of people that were in this building, the amount of people that were across the street at Phillips Arena, the parking lot's full. You had, he hits that shot, pushed the game to overtime. When tornado hit, they were playing the game still. They're saying that, like, had these people, I mean, I use my imagination, had these people been out here, going back to their cars, walking the sidewalks and whatever, God knows the kind of damage that would have been done. There was one fatality, that's one too many, but you know what? In an instance like that, 476 windows of the Omni Hotel just scattered and flying around. You know, just speaking about the actual damage at the time that the tornado was going through. 9:32. Had he not hit that shot, those people would have been out here in their cars. The game would have been over. They ended up, that game was broadcast on television, live TV, and was held up for 64 minutes because the actual tornado tore into the wall of the stadium. And that's, again, there's people filmed that, so they had a hole in the side, in the building itself, that people were able to see from their seats, and debris falling in from there. You know, and yeah, just unbelievable, the thought of that. And then when people did come out after the tornado had passed, you know, I'm going to post the pictures. It looked like, but they were telling them inside the game, tens of thousands of people that were inside the building, that the National Weather Service said a tornado hit, and that was the reason for what they were, you know, what they were seeing inside the building. And probably, I guess, I'm sure they were seeing that on their cell phones too, like the damage. But the gentleman that hit that shot to send that to overtime probably saved he saved lives. That's just generally speaking, he saved lives, because it was unbelievable the amount of damage that was done. So I was actually shooting earlier at this corner right here where you see that silver truck there. So I definitely got corrected by an employee, I think, of the Omni Hotel, who I was just chatting with about the tornado. So this was, right here was the entrance of the CNN building. There's a landmark, there's a marker over there. I remember reading that. Matter of fact, it might be right there. We're gonna go see. But the CNN entrance was right here, and a lot of the pictures that you see of the damage were along here, because McCormick's, he was telling me, McCormick's is one of the rare establishments that's still here, because even the CNN building is no longer here, but it was there. And I think that's where the CNN letters were, right there. So yeah, so right along here, I'm gonna post some pictures of, get some screen grabs of stuff that was photographed. This area was really, really hit hard. Makes me wonder how long this parking garage was here, because that got, the parking garage here, which would have been Phillips Arena, which is right up here, where you see that little crossover bridge right there. That's basically to get you to the front of Phillips Arena, currently State Farm Arena. Sorry for that. But there's many lots, but they also said one of the lot that, you know, there was the parking lots, the garages took tremendous damage as well. But I did want to clarify that CNN entrance, and you see it in the picture, was right there on Centennial Boulevard. And of course that street down there going this direction, is Marietta Boulevard. And just standing out front the State Farm Arena. Here goes the Dominique statue, Dominique Wilkins. So yeah, just a little further research. So absolutely, the Atlanta Hawks were playing in this building the night of March 14th, 2008. They were playing the Clippers. I can't find anything referencing, I don't know if this building suffered any damage. I know well, at least reportedly suffered any damage. These parking garages, one of them around here absolutely did. And that's documented. They had a game. I'm going to assume that game started at 2008, 7 p.m. Maybe, depending on TV coverage, maybe even 7:30. Those games run 3 hours. If there's a TV, if it's like cable, like, you know, TNT or whatever covering it, could run even more than that. So I'm assuming the people that did go to this game here were still in the building when that hit. I don't think that they were in jeopardy of being out here. That's my opinion. I haven't heard anything about, so I'm going to assume that's what happened there. Just want to clarify also, there were 3 fatalities from the actual outbreak, which lasted 2 days, March 14th and March 15th, 2008. Both days, 46 tornadoes across this whole area, southeast area of the country. There were 3 fatalities, 1 in Atlanta. Yeah, it's just something that you know, my channel, I cover weather. I will cover weather phenomenon. I've actually seen a couple, done a couple tornado videos in one in Alabama and one in Dallas, Georgia. So I just was like, I'm going to set aside the time to actually stop in here and document this one because of the significance of it, the location of it. It's just unbelievable. They're always unbelievable. To me, absolutely mesmerizing to see. And with that being said, it's bad enough where they hit. Dropping them and them traveling through metropolitan cities, it's just insane. It's an insane thought. They're insane in general. Saw EF1 damage in Dallas, Georgia. That was enough. That was like really mind blowing just to see that. And yeah, wild weekend. What did I have other notes. Let me see if I can reference. Yeah, so they did say 2 giant columns fell in Centennial Park itself. One of the things that they talk about the power of these winds. In March, you don't have leaves on the tree yet, on the trees. So anytime you get a bunch of trees uprooted in that month, it even tells you even more the significance and level of that intensity of that tornado. So they had a bunch of downed trees with no leaves at all on them, which would almost have like a sail effect with wind blowing through them, and which would make it even more probable the trees will be down. $500 million in damage, and that's in the 2008 numbers. But yeah, it is what it is. Right through here, just right through this area. Insane to think about. Really, just to put that into perspective, all through here, folks. I want to say thanks for watching. Despite the theme of the video, have a great day and a pleasant tomorrow, and I will see you next episode. If you wanted to know what is going on across the street from State Farm Arena and haven't been here in a while, or across the street from Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I'm going to show you what they're doing. I haven't been down here, and probably it's been a handful of months, but I see right here Centennial Yards. They have a graphic, two graphics right here of what's going on beyond this fence. So you know, you got the state Mercedes-Benz there. This is Centennial Boulevard. We got State Farm Arena right there. So this right here is what is going up. Tough to visualize from the angle. And that's a big area that they're working on. Yeah, the days of stadiums, just having a stadium and having a parking lot coincide with the stadium, are over. So it's now, and apparently the Battery, where you know the Atlanta Braves play, is kind of the prototype venue situation that everywhere across the United States is looking to do, and this area is no different. So they're going to, you know, right along next to the Mercedes-Benz. It's gonna be a giant accommodation right here that I'm sure is like whether it's a hotel and a foodery and this, that, the other thing, and everything in between, all going to be right in this area. And this is a massive area. I remember looking at this a few months ago when they were pretty much at the bottom, just starting up. So appreciate you watching. Have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow, and I'll see you in the next episode.